Thanks for being along with us today on Good Day State Line. I'm joined now by attorney Jonathan James. Welcome to Good Day State Line.
Great. Happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm an attorney. I work in the Rockford area. We do strictly criminal defense and license reinstatements. We take on a lot of DUI cases in our practice.
And that's what you're here to talk about today, correct?
Correct.
So tell me what rights people have when they're talking to the police.
Well, a lot of people don't understand. Whenever the police pull them over, they think they have to answer all the police questions and cooperate with the police. So whenever we're talking in the context of a DUI, nowhere are you required to answer the police questions. You are required to do certain things, such as give them your driver's license and insurance information when they ask. Whenever the police officer asks you to step out of the car, you have to comply with that, but you never have to answer any of the questions that they have.
Good to know. Also, what about the DUI situation? All of the tests that come about with it?
A lot of times after the police officers question people, they always like to ask questions like, how much have you had to drink? Where are you coming from? And they're trying to elicit information like, oh, I'm coming from a bar, I had a couple of drinks, and all that information they use against them. And if they think they got enough after questioning, they're going to ask them to participate in a series of tests. These are called standardized field sobriety tests. And what happens is the police officer is going to get you out of the car, and then like right by the roadside, they're going to ask you to do a series of very difficult tests in my estimation as traffic's passing by, such as walking a line, stand on one leg, and then there's the follow the pen test.
And so how are those tests graded?
It's a very complex grading system. Not a lot of people are familiar with it. Police officers have to go through an extensive training course to be able to grade these tests. So it depends on which test they're doing. As far as the follow the pen test, they're not actually looking to see if people are capable of following the pen. They're actually looking for shaking in the eye, which is indicative of someone who has consumed alcohol. Mm-hmm. And then the other tests, such as walking in a line, they're looking for people to step off the line, stop walking, not keep their arms by the side. So there's this long grading system that they use.
And with those tests, do you have to do them?
You do not have to do them. Whenever a police officer asks you to get out and do the test, if you don't want to do the test, my advice is to politely say no, thank you.
And that's it? They're not going to try to get you to do them anyway?
They're going to be persuasive. They're going to try to get you to do them. Eventually, they might try to get you to, take a breathalyzer.
Sure.
And whenever we're talking about breathalyzers, there's a couple of different ways that the police will try to measure your BAC. One's going to be what's called a portable breathalyzer test. This is a device that the police officers carry around in the car with them. It can only be used in court under certain circumstances. It's not admissible at a jury or a bench trial setting, but in a hearing setting, the police officers are allowed to use this to establish that they had probable cause to make an arrest. So if the police think they have a reasonable basis to believe someone was driving under the influence, they can ask them to take a portable breathalyzer test. Very important, you never have to take a portable breathalyzer test if you don't want to.
So you can continue basically to say no as long as you do give your license, give your insurance, and get out of the car.
Yeah, you have to comply with everything the police says as far as like getting out of the car and producing documents and that type of thing. I know a lot of people mistakenly believe it's like they only have to roll the window down a couple of inches and they can slide the documents there. If a police officer tells you to get out of the car, you got to do that, but you're not required to do portable breathalyzer test at the scene, and you're not required to do the field sobriety testing.
So if you refuse to do any of these tests, what else is going to happen? I'm sure they're not just going to let you go.
Yeah.
Probably not just going to say, okay.
It's likely that the police may place you under arrest, and then they're going to take you down to the station, and then they're going to try to get what's called a certified breathalyzer test from you. And this is a more precise instrument in that it's calibrated on a more regular basis, and it's just a more accurate device according to the laws of Illinois. So whenever they go down there, what the police have to do is read you something called a warning to motorists. This essentially details like all the consequences for either blowing into the device and blowing over the limit or refusing to blow. After they read this warning to motorists, they're supposed to watch you for a 20-minute period. And during this time, they're looking to see if people are placing anything in their mouths that might affect the result from the certified breathalyzer test.
So tell me, no refusal weekends. What's that?
No refusal weekends. Glad you brought that up. It's whenever you're offered a certified breathalyzer test, if you refuse, they mark it down as a refusal, and then your license gets suspended for a year. If you refuse and then the police officer still wants to get a BAC from you, what they can do is they can call down to a judge. And if the judge signs a warrant saying that, we need to give, you need to give a breath sample or we need to get a blood draw from you, that's a different situation. So in the face of a warrant, no one is, you're technically not allowed to be able to refuse that, otherwise you're charged with like felony obstruction of a police officer. And what no refusal weekends are, is this is when, these are special weekends, it's usually organized by the state's attorney's office, and they usually have judges on call. So whenever someone refuses a breathalyzer, they have a judge on call at like 2 o'clock in the morning, they give a call to them, and then all of a sudden they get a warrant issued, and then they're forcefully drawing blood from you.
So there's a lot involved in this, which, you told us a lot, but I'm sure that there's more. So if someone wanted to contact you with more questions or talk to you about this, what could they do?
They could visit the website. It's 815DUIHelp.com. They could call our office, also 815-DUI-HELP.
That's pretty easy to remember.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Are we looking at fall temps, or will summer stick around just a little bit longer? Let's find out together. We'll be right back after a quick check of the weather.